What's going on, guys? So we're back for another first impressions video. This is a fragrance today that we're going to be talking about. One of the more kind of, again, another slept on name in my opinion. You know, mostly I see people who are major collectors and people who really have a large, broad fragrance collection who have this fragrance. It's not the average everyday person that I see having it, but it was on a discounter for a nice price. So I went and blind bought it, I got it, and now we're going to go through the whole smelling experience for it. You guys, and this one here is from the brand of Paco Rabanne. This one here is called Paco Rabanne Pure Excess Night. All right, Pure Excess Night. So Pure Excess Night is gonna be a warm, sweet, sort of caramel amber cacao fragrance, okay? And then just a little bit of backstory on this fragrance. It was launched by Paco Rabanne in 2019, okay? Pure Excess Night is gonna be more on the oriental side of the fragrance spectrum, so the sweeter gourmand side of the spectrum. You know, for those of us who like those type of fragrances, this is gonna be a fragrance for you, I believe. And so it's gonna have notes of, let's see here, we're gonna have some caramel, we're gonna have some myrrh, some ginseng, some ginger, cacao, and cinnamon and vanilla. So really nice, spicy fragrance with a lot of, you know, sort of aromatic touches to it. So we're really gonna be able to see. Now the bottle design wouldn't really scream the most, you know, aromatic, wouldn't scream the most gourmand fragrance, but then again, I do like the bottle design. It's one of the more unique ones I've seen. And so we're gonna try this one out. Definitely, just smelling it off the bottle is, it's gonna be an interesting one. Caramel, see, out of the fragrance notes that I've tried, caramel is always one of those ones. It can really heighten the aromatic fragrance, or it's gonna be one of those where, you know, it can make it overly bubblegummy sweet. But definitely, we got our tester strip, got the fragrance. Let's see what it is. Nice atomizer, y'all see that? Just off the opening sillage, you're getting that ginger, you're getting that cacao, you're getting that caramel in there. All right. Okay. Okay. I like this. I like this a lot. I like this a lot. So definitely, you're getting that ginseng in there. That cacao, vanilla, yes. A little bit of cinnamon. The cinnamon is also well blended in this fragrance too. You definitely are getting it. It's almost like when you put cinnamon on a nice bowl of oatmeal or something like that. The cacao, it smells like cacao. That the beans, like nice roasted cocoa. That caramel is actually done well. It's a base note in here. Then that myrrh gives it a level of spiciness too. So a nice spicy fragrance. It's definitely a projector. It's not the loudest, but it's loud. You know, when I sprayed it, it was one of those, like, you had to kind of take it in. It got you, okay? Now, let's talk about the whole smelling experience. What goes on when I'm blind smelling a fragrance. So you always see me kind of spray the fragrance onto the tester strip, but you want to do an initial smell test where you're spraying in the air. The reason being, when you spray in the air and you get that initial whiff, the initial whiff is usually your top notes that you're getting, and you're getting a gauge for how does it smell whenever you first spray it on, right? A lot of people will like or dislike fragrances based on their opening. Many people won't give a fragrance a full chance because they didn't like the opening. It's really, a fragrance would be either overly, you know, strong, or really sharp opening. A fragrance that kind of reminds me of that would be like Club de Nuit Intense Man, where the opening is really tart, really pungent, right? Then you guys see me let the fragrance strip air down. And so part of the reason why I'll spray it on the strip first and then spray it in the air. When I spray it on the strip, I'm giving the strip that time to dry down because you don't want to just go into smelling it right away. It's a little bit more alcohol in there. And so I'm letting that sillage kind of sit in the air, getting my initial whiffs, getting my initial impression on how I like the fragrance. If I was to have that spread on me, what am I getting? And so that's where I was able to kind of see that ginger, that ginseng a little bit. And then when you spread it on the tester strip and it dries down, you're getting into what is called a fragrance's mid notes, right? In the mid notes, you're really starting to see, this is usually how it will smell on your skin initially, right? So when you spray it on your skin, when you spray it on your clothes, what are you getting after you've sprayed it on and you've worn it for about 5 or 10 minutes, okay? For me, it was a very vanillic but spicy fragrance. It was like vanilla spice. It wasn't just straight vanilla. And Vanilla is one of those aromatic notes. While it is very popular, a lot of fragrances, especially people who don't like aromatic fragrances, especially people who aren't too fond of something that is overly sweet, then you really have to be able to blend it really well. And so in this fragrance, with this Pure Excess Night, definitely the cacao and cinnamon mixed with the vanilla is a nice, strong combination that is like, okay, the vanilla is blended really well, and then the cacao and cinnamon is also a nice unique touch where it's not like every other fragrance out there. It is definitely, you can tell it's a designer sort of formula, right? It's not the most lavish fragrance notes like lily, like lilacs, like scent of blossom or anything like that. It's nice, common fragrance DNA that is blended in its own way. It's also not the most complex fragrance. It doesn't have 12 notes. It's maybe, got about 6 or 8, which is usually a pretty simple formula. Then what you get after you go through your opening and your mid, you get to what's called the base. So the base is after a fragrance has dried down your skin. So a good rule of thumb is about after 10 to 15 minutes, you go and you spray on fragrance, you let it sit down, you let it linger, and then you're gonna get what that fragrance smells like on your skin after a while. Usually people, especially after you've worn a fragrance out and then you give people a hug, maybe you shake hands, people are usually smelling the base of your fragrance. Definitely that caramel is really pronounced in this fragrance, but it's also not one where it's overly like just straight caramel, but you do definitely get that note. It is very pronounced, and honestly it's done quite pleasantly, quite beautifully. It's almost like the spices and the caramel and the vanilla in this fragrance kind of give it a little bit of a leathery-ish undertone, a leathery vanillic undertone. There's no leather in the fragrance, but that's what it kind of is blended into. But all in all, I mean, I definitely do like this fragrance. I think this would be a nice purchase, and it's not overly expensive. See, if we look on Joma Shop right now, I think Joma Shop has Pure Excess Night for, let's look real quick. Your Excess Night is $59, so $60, right? So well under $70 for a nice designer fragrance. This is a 3.3 ounce bottle too, so full size bottle, nice night out fragrance. Definitely, I'd see it being worn out to a clubbing setting. This is not something for day night. It's a little too sweet for me. You're definitely not wearing it out as your daytime scent, especially not in warm weather. It's a little too sweet for that. Definitely, this is a nice night out clubbing scent. Probably a guy in his, later teens, early 20s maybe, and you need a nice fragrance, but you don't want to go with Versace Eros. You maybe want something a little bit spicier, a little bit more gourmand. That'd be a great choice. It's also not fruity, so if you don't like mixing fruity fragrances or even so much floral fragrances, you want just a spicy vanilla fragrance, and this would be a good fragrance for you. But again, that'll do it today, guys. Again, Pure Excess Night, first impression, slept on sort of fragrance in the community, but for me, that was a dub for me. So again, I appreciate all you guys who listen, who tap in, who support the channel, who like the videos. Make sure to comment any videos you want me to do, any fragrances you want me to do first impressions on. And then remember to share the page with the fellow Fraghead, and we'll catch you on the next one. Much love.